Oh my gosh, I'm back. So I left off where Travis was getting deep with the dog, getting deep in person with the dog, just telling um, his dog Einstein about how he was before and how he was thinking of killing himself and how he was unhappy until he met Einstein, you know, and the dog felt deep commiseration for Travis just listening to his story. But yeah, that's where I left off. I left off where I got stuck on the word commiseration. Yeah, commiseration.
Nobody blamed me for what had happened to Harry. He was the older one. He was supposed to be the most responsible. But I felt, well, if the undertow took Harry, it should have taken me too. A night, a night wind blew in from the west, rattled a loose window pane. After taking a swallow of beer, Travis said, the summer I was 14, I wanted very badly to go to tennis camp. Tennis was my big enthusiasm then. So my dad enrolled me in a place down near San Diego, a full month of intense instruction. He drove me there on a Sunday, but we never made it. Just north of Oceanside, a trucker fell asleep at the wheel. His rig jumped the median, and we were wiped. Dad was killed instantly. Broken neck, broken back, skull crushed. Chest caved in. Chest caved in. I was in the front seat beside him, and I came out of it with a few cuts, bruises, and two broken fingers. The dog was studying him, and the dog was studying him intently. It was just like with Harry. Both of us should have died, my father and me, but I escaped, and we wouldn't have been making the damn drive if I hadn't agitated like hell about tennis camp. So this time there was no getting around it. Maybe I couldn't be blamed for my maybe I couldn't be blamed excuse me. Maybe I couldn't be blamed for my mother dying in childbirth, and maybe I couldn't be pinned with Harry's death, but this one, anyway, though I wasn't always at fault, it began to be clear that I was jinxed, that it wasn't safe for people to get close to me. When I love somebody, really love them, they were sure as shit going to die. Only a child could have been convinced that those tragic events meant he was a walking curse. But Travis was a child then, only 14, and no other explanation was so neat. He was too young to understand that the mindless violence of nature and fate had no meaning that could be ascer- ascertained, ascertained, ascertained. I'm assuming ascertained means explained. At 14, he needed meaning in order to cope. So he told himself that he was cursed, that if he made any close friends, he would be sentencing them to early death. Being somewhat of an introvert to begin with, he found it almost too easy to turn inward and make do with his own with and make do with his own company. By the time he graduated from college at the age of 21, he was a confirmed loner. Though maturity had given him a healthier perspective on the deaths of his mother, brother, and father, he no longer consciously thought of himself as jinxed, no longer blamed himself for what had happened to his family. He remained an introvert without close friends, partly because he had lost the ability to form and nurture intimate relationships, and partly because he figured he could not be shattered by grief if he had no friends to lose. Habit and self defense kept me emotionally isolated, he told Einstein. The dog rose and crossed the few feet of kitchen floor that separated them. It insinuated itself between his legs and put its head on it in his lap. Petting Einstein, Travis said, had no idea what I wanted to do after college. And there was military draft then, so I joined up before they could call me. Chose the Army, Special Forces, liked it. Maybe because, well, there was a sense of camaraderie, and I was forced to make friends. See, I pretended not to want close ties with anyone, but I must have decided but I must have because I put myself in a situation where it was inevitable. But I must have because I put myself in a situation where it was inevitable. Decided to make a career out of the service. When Delta when Delta Force, the anti-terrorist group, was formed, that's where I finally landed. The guys in Delta were tight, real buddies. They called me the Mute and Harpo because I wasn't a talker, but in spite of myself, I made friends. Then on our 11th operation, my squad was flown into Athens to take the U.S. Embassy back from a group of Palestinian extremists who seized it. They killed 8 staff members and were still killing one an hour. Wouldn't negotiate. We hit them quick and sneaky, and it was a fiasco. They booby trapped the place. 9 men in my squad died. I was the only survivor. A bullet in my thigh. Shrapnel in my ass, but a survivor. Damn, Travis has been through a lot. Einstein raised his head from Travis's lap. Travis thought he saw sympathy in the dog's eyes, maybe because that was what he wanted to see. That's 8 years ago when I was 28. 28. So he's 36, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. Left the Army, came home to California, got a real estate license because my dad had sold real estate and I didn't know what else to do. Did real well, maybe because I didn't care if they bought the houses I showed them. Didn't push, didn't act like a salesman. Fact is, I did so well that I became a broker, opened my own office, hired salespeople, which was how he had met Paula. She was a tall, blonde beauty, bright and amusing, and she could sell real estate so well that she joked about having lived an earlier life in which She had represented the Dutch colonists when they had brought Manhattan from the Indians for beads and trinkets. She was smitten with Travis. That's what she told him. That's what she told him. Mr. Cornell, sir, I'm smitten. I think it's your strong, silent act. Best Clint Eastwood imitation I've ever seen. Travis resisted her at first. He did not believe he would jinx Paula. At least he didn't consciously believe it. Alright, I'm gonna leave it right there. Ziggy, stop. So a quick recap of what I read.
Travis is still I gotta stop saying Travis is getting personal with the dog, just with his dog Einstein, just giving him his whole, I guess, life story of how he's where he is. And it's kind of sad because he's been through a lot. His mom died his mom died when she had him. Brother died right in front of him when they went out swimming, and his dad died in an accident. So this compared this similarly similarly to similarly to Nora led to Travis having a negative mindset about himself, that he was the problem. Like when he would get close with people, form a special bond with people, they would die. So this caused Travis to isolate and keep to himself and not really form deep and intimate relationships.